hopefully everybody is in our group is expecting to know about some natural resource projects. You're my people. I love to be outside and I love the natural resource projects. They're one of my favorites. My name's Tracy Winters and I'm the 4-H educator in Gallia County. So I know we have people from all over the state here. Gallia County is clear down on the river. We actually border the river, Ohio River. So we have a lot of outdoor activities here. I went to Ohio State and my degree for my undergrad was in natural resources. So hopefully that if you guys have some creative questions, we'll be able to answer them and come up with some really cool ideas that you guys might want to share. So let me see if I can get my, okay. All right, so in natural resources, there's a lot of different projects and they are divided up into 3 different categories. One is gardening and plant science. The other is basic shooting sports. And then the last one is called the natural world. So your projects in natural resources are going to fall into one of those groups. And I know that we have different people in here that have different projects. So I'm going to hit all of them in those categories, but we're going to talk about a few of the ones that you guys have listed on your registration that were yours specifically. And I did not see anybody with gardening, but gardening and plant science is one of the groupings in natural resources. There are 4 different projects that you can take in that category. So I just want to talk to you a little bit about each one of them and then we'll move on. So the beginner level, we have how does your garden grow and grow your own vegetables. So flower gardening is how does your garden grow is all about flower gardening, container gardens, and growing seasonal flowers. Vegetable gardening is about growing vegetables or garden crops, and that can be done in a garden or a container. Those will be the ones that I would recommend if you're just getting started in gardening. If you've already been gardening and you're looking for more advanced, we have Growing with the Seasons, which talks about intensive gardening. You use all the space available and you're going to be growing plants throughout the whole season. So it talks about how you pile on different plants to make sure that you're getting the most out of your space. The other one is canning and freezing, and that one to me always sounds like a food project, but it's about taking your products from harvest and then freezing them or water bathing them to keep them for food that you might need. Basic shooting sports, and for those of you that might be interested in shooting sports, there's 2 projects that you can do in any club. One of them is basic archery. That's the one that has the pink or the red kind of bullet target there. And then there is a shooting sports archery and a crossbow. Those ones you need to be in a shooting sports club for. So I would recommend taking the basic archery if you're interested in that. And if you like that, then continuing on to that, you'd want to get enrolled in a shooting sports club. The other one that you can take in any club is safe use of guns. So if you have any interest in outdoors, hunting, target shooting, trap shooting, safe use of guns would be where you'd want to start. And then again, if you like that, there are several other projects that you can take in the shooting sports club. There's rifle and pistol, shotgun, muzzle loader. There's also a couple called Living History or Western Heritage and wildlife hunting. So those are all kind of neat projects if you're interested in those. Another one that I did not see anybody signed up for is called Trapping Muskrats in Ohio. This one's an old project and it is actually up to be revamped. There are 7 interest areas in that you would complete. It starts out with year 1. Year 1 is for you just to learn about muskrats, why we trap them and how we trap them. For year 2, then you actually get into the muskrat trapping. So the book is set up that you would complete 7 interest areas the first year and then 7 interest areas the second year. There's also beekeeping, and beekeeping is another interesting project. It can be a beginner, intermediate, or advanced level project, and it offers activities for members of all ages. So even if you have never even seen anything about bees, this could be a project that you can start because it's going to start you with a hive and how to do the basics of beekeeping. And then if you've been doing bees for a while, there's some more advanced projects in here and you would fill out a record book, sort of like you would for an animal project. your record book is going to change every year. So you get a new book and you would keep all your records on each individual hive that you had from year to year. So even though it's a one-year book, it is made to be used multiple years, or to take it multiple years. And another one that we had that I did not see anybody signed up for that's on the clinic was exploring ponds. This one is more one of our advanced levels. So if you've been taking like the Discover the Outdoors or the fishing, this might be one that you might want to look to in the future. Members that have done the beginner or intermediate level, the ponds, it basically starts you out with talking about what the water cycle is, and then going all the way to the health of your specific pond and how to test your pond and how to make your pond the best, healthiest place for the organisms that live in it. There are 9 activities that you'd need to take in that project, plus the 2 learning experiences and the citizenship activities. So this one is the first one that I saw that we had people in. So where are my tree people? If you can unmute yourself and tell me who's got a tree project on here. To unmute yourself, you click on the little red microphone. It's got a slash through it if you're muted. And we may not have our tree person. Maybe they didn't come into the group, but I just want to give you a chance if you're here. So I don't hear anybody, so I'm just going to kind of go through this one too. Why trees matter is another activity. There are 6 activities in this one that you would take, and there's 2 learning experiences and 2 citizenship activities. And before we start, I just kind of want to talk about what the difference is between a learning experience and a citizenship activity. So the learning experience, sometimes there are optional ones that you can do. You do need to pick 2. That it's it's based on one of the 6 activities that you take. It's kind of delving in a little bit deeper and to explore it just a little bit further. So in Why Trees Matter, there's a activity about tree ID. So maybe you want to learn more about tree ID. So that might be one of the ones that you do a learning experience in. There was a couple activities in this one that are kind of neat. There's one where you learn about all the different parts of a tree and how a tree functions. It's called Build a Tree. And I know that Project Learning Tree is a really good resource for this activity. So if you're thinking about trees, you like forest, you want to learn how to identify trees and how they work and their benefits to nature, this would be one that I would really recommend. How about geology? Is anybody in our group that's got the geology project? I see a hand going up. Cassie? Okay. So on this one's new, and this one looks really cool to me. I have not had a chance to kind of explore it as much as I want, although I did read over it. This is one I'm looking forward to. I want to try it out at one of our camps. It's based on kind of discovering all the minerals and fossils and rocks around our planet and where they come from and what their backgrounds, you know, if it comes from bedrock, if it comes from a different type of soil. It talks about how fossils are made. It talks about where you would find them. This one is a beginner level, so it is one that you can build your interest on. It's a one-year project book. So in this one, you're going to use the same book for the whole year. You can take it again, but it's meant to move on after your first year. So if you do it again, you would need to get another book and then actually complete different activities or do different learning experiences in that. So in this one, there are 8 activities that you're going to do. And then you're going to do 2 learning experiences and 2 citizenship activities. So I talked about what learning experiences were for citizenship activities. In this one, it would be something like maybe you're going to do an educational experience, maybe do a demonstration at your club. Maybe you want to organize something where your club goes out and does a hike or does some sort of activity outdoors, where they look at different types of rock. And we're in Southern Ohio, so like going to Hocking Hills is a great location for us because you can see all the different types of rock. We have a lot of sandstone. You can see how things erode. You can also do like a creek hike and look for different fossils in your creek. If you're in the Cincinnati area, they have lots of fossils found in their streams. It's a great place to check those out. If you're up on Lake Erie, I know that there are different types of beach rock and eroded rock there that you can find. So taking your club, maybe doing a hike, or it may not even be your club. It may just be family members or friends. Since we are in a year of a COVID and our clubs aren't really meeting, it might be a good time for you to take your group, your family group out and teach them a little bit about your geology project. So a couple of activities that I saw in this one that I thought might be really cool if you wanted to do a demonstration or make this part of your judging is the sedimentary rock demonstration, they use candy. And it's a little activity that you can do that kind of shows and teaches how sedimentary rock is developed. So if you want to take a look at that one looked like it would be really nice. There's also one about minerals and a hardness scale. So if you have a mineral collection, you could line those up and do a hardness scale and do the scratch test with those. That might be part of your activities that you want to try. Or you can do your own make a fossil with clay. And if people teach them how fossils are made and how they're compressed into the other rock, you know, usually it's an imprint of a plant or an animal that you find as far as the fossils go. And you can do that by using pieces of leaves, twigs, even your dog's footprint if you wanted to, and pushing that into clay and do your demonstration on how fossils are made. So Cassie, do you have any questions you want to talk about your fossil activity, or you want to wait till the end and then? Okay, think about it. I want to help you guys out as much as you can, but I want to go through all the activities here, and then we'll have a little discussion at the end on some of your ideas of what you can take to your judging. Ohio birds. Do I have any Ohio birds, kids? You may have to unmute yourself because I can't really see everybody on one screen. Okay. So Ohio birds is kind of it's a different book. This one's been around for a while. I looked this one up and I think it was actually printed in the 90s. So this one is designed, it can be a beginner, intermediate, or an advanced book. It is created to be a 2-year book. So this one is set up a little different than the others. It has specific activities that you're going to do for year 1, and it has specific activities that you're going to do for year 2. So there are 5 interest levels, and so each year you're going to do 5 different activities and 2 learning experiences and 2 citizenship leadership activities. And that would repeat itself in the second year. So some of the ideas for Ohio birds, bringing different types of birds to your feeder. It talks a lot about feeder types, different kinds of feed. It wants you to identify 30 species. So you could do that by looking them up in field guides, taking pictures of them. There's even really cool apps now that you can download on your phone that you can take a picture of something and it will help you ID it. Most of them are free. There are a few that you would pay for, but they're like a couple bucks for the app, and I think it's a one-time deal when you buy them. So photographs, bird ID, learning about the different types of birds, what is predator birds, prey birds, songbirds, birds that migrate. That's what this whole project has a lot to do with. And it's really kind of a fascinating book if you're really into birds. So my Explore the Outdoors, who's got this project? Okay, I see Cole's got his hand up. I can't see some of you guys, your videos are off, but you can unmute and say you do if you have this one. So this one is a great one to start out with. So if you have never taken a natural resource project, Cole, you've picked a really good one because this one gives you a taste of all the different activities, I think. And it starts off with, how do you start your adventure? So how do you prepare to take a hike? How do you prepare to be outside? You know, packing a backpack, finding equipment that you might need. And then it'll go through exploring woodlands. So if you're interested in trees, the woodlands there, fields, wetlands, talks about the different geology of Ohio. And it's for all interests and all age groups. So no matter how old you are, this is a really good one to start with. For this one, there are 9 activities though. So I would recommend if you haven't started this one, you get started on it pretty quickly. But I was looking, the activities look really easy. They look really fun. Some of the ones that you would do were like tree ID. So some of the project activity ideas you might want to do or to take to your judging is kind of, if you wanted to do, if you really got into the tree ID part, the forestry part, you could do a journal. You could do a tree leaf collection. You could ID several different types of plants that you find in a forested area. You could bring your field equipment to your judging and talk about how you use your field guides, what you put in your backpack, why it's important to have a first aid kit with you. Or you could even do something about talking about Ohio does have some poisonous plants and we have some poisonous animals. So you could do something about a kind of an explorer alert. So in your book, it talks about alerts. These are dangers that you want to look for when you're out exploring the outdoors. And it mentions the poisonous snakes that we have in Ohio, like our copperhead and our rattlesnake. Those are the ones we have here in southern Ohio. And it gives you pictures of those and how to look out for that type of thing. So fishing, where are my fishing people? Cole's got fishing too. Okay. So which do you have, fishing 1 or fishing 2? Can you give me a finger 1 or 2? Hold those up. You got 1?
I got a fishing book, but I didn't sign up for it this year. I got it last year, but I didn't do it.
Okay.
But so I learned a lot of stuff from it.
It might be time, you know, you might still have time to finish it. I don't know what county you're in, Molly or Katie, whichever is talking.
Molly.
The first level fishing is all about your experience. And from looking at it, it is about filling out your log. Where did you go to fish? What did you catch? Learning about some of the basic fish that you might catch with it. So, you know, if you've started that already from last year, you might still be able to get that one done. I would check with your educator. And
I didn't sign up for it.
Okay. I know that, again, this is kind of our year of grace. So some counties are letting you add or change projects. Some maybe not, but if you wanted to, if you're interested in that, I would definitely check with your 4-H educator. Which county are you in?
Brown County.
You're in Brown, so that might be something to ask Christy about. The intermediate level, after you've done your beginner level, it's more intense as far as fishing. You're going to learn more about the basics, more than just the basics of fishing. You should have that knowledge before you start this, but you're going to learn more about equipment, about how to tie different ties, you might even do some different flies. You're going to learn more about how to use your tackle to get the kind of fish that you want and where to fish in order to catch the kinds of fish that you want. So in the first level of this, you're learning about what kind of fish there are. So if I'm going to go fish for catfish, let's say for an example, I would use different tackle and I would fish in a different location and at a different time of day than if I was going to fish for bass or bluegill. I know that if you got a small farm pond, you know, you can catch a lot of bluegill. You might even catch a couple bass. You want to do a bottom fishing if you're going to try for those catfish. Here at the river, Ohio River, we have some really large catfish and a lot of people fish the river for those. It's kind of their big game fish here. Okay, so do I have some insect exhibitors? You may have to unmute so I can hear you. Who's that?
Megan, I have the insect project.
Okay. Do you have 1, 2, or 3, Megan?
2.
Okay, so did you take insect 1?
No.
Okay. So with insect 1, it's more about learning your basics. It talks about what makes an insect, you know, its body parts. It talks about what insects are in different families. Kind of gives you the basics of entomology, you know, what species would we consider to be flies? What species would we consider to be bees? What species might we consider to be a beetle? As you move into the intermediate one, which is the one you're in, you're digging in a little bit deeper. So you're going to have quite a few insects to collect with this one. On your first one, you collect 30 insects. And in the second one, it increases to 40 insects. Have you got started on your insect collection?
Yeah, I actually have it done already.
Wow, great. So you've already got them all pinned and got them displayed. Is that what you're going to take for your judging?
Yeah, I just have to finish the labels for them, but I have 45, I think I ended up with.
Okay. In your book, did it talk about displaying them in any kind of pattern, family types, groupings?
No, not specifically.
Okay. If you already have it all created, that might be something as you're going through, if you learn your family types. I know that when you're being judged, a lot of times people get fascinated as to, what makes an insect and which is beneficial insects versus invasive species or pest insects. So those are some things that I would keep in mind as you're going to judging. Talk about metamorphosis. If you've got some insects in your collection that are aquatic insects, you could even have a sample. We do macroinvertebrate hunts at camp, so we will get some aquatic larvae and then we match them up to the adult. So if you found an adult, you might actually go to a local stream and try and find one of the larvae to put with it, so you can have talk about the metamorphosis of that species. Invasive versus non-invasive species, you might point those out. Beneficial insects, predator prey. I always like to have a praying mantis when I'm doing insects. I think they're fascinating as far as how they hunt and catch and eat other insects. Do you have any questions about your specific insect project?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. The most advanced insect project is level 3. And with that one, you actually will dissect a grasshopper. That's part of it. So I don't know, some people don't like that. They get a little squeamish. You may have the opportunity, some computer programs now offer virtual dissection so that you can still learn the parts and do it without actually dissecting the grasshopper. But that one is built into that book. It talks about trapping the insects. It goes more into what a beneficial insect is versus your pest insect, and you're collecting 50 insects at that. There are 7 activities in that one, and the one that you have, there's 8 activities. So they're all about the same. The first one has 7 activities that you're going to do. A couple of things that you might consider doing for citizenship or leadership is if you have your display. I've had some kids donate their displays to our camp for our nature center. I've had kids come in and do talks for their educational part to the club, teaching them about different insects. I've had kids create games. We did some macroinvertebrate water aquatic games, and I had a couple kids that did this as a project, came up, they were camp counselors, and came up with some really fun games that we played after we did our stream walk. So it kind of tied everything in together. And those can be all leadership activities for you. So looks like, see where we're at on time. Looks like we have about 5-ish minutes or so.
Yep.
So I was going to kind of let each one of you maybe go through and tell me where you're at with your project and what you liked about it, and would you recommend it to somebody else? What kind of tips would you give? So Megan, do you want to start?
Sure. So you said where I'm from, and then any
Yeah,
tips
you can
for
say
the
where you're
project?
from. If you want to tell me what county, tell me what project you're taking, and then if you have any tips about, if somebody else wanted to take your project, it's also a good time to ask questions, or we might be able to give suggestions.
I'm from Tuscarawas County, and I would definitely recommend the project, especially if you're interested in insects and just, I don't know, it's really cool because arthropods are some of the biggest classes and stuff in the world, so they're literally all around us. That's what caused me to take it, is that it's such a diverse group. But I guess a tip would be, or at least And I found that if you're doing your collection, the easiest way to preserve the specimen is to freeze them before you pin them. That's the easiest way I found to do it. So
Now, are you killing them when are you freezing them? Is that how you're catching them and freezing them to kill them, or are you using like a gas?
I've tried like a jar with formaldehyde in it and freezing, and personally the freezing method is easier and also faster.
Yeah, I did entomology in college, and I preferred to freeze them as well. The only ones I had a little trouble with were like moths and butterflies. Have you tried to do any moths or butterflies?
Yeah, I have 2 butterflies and a
How
moth.
how did they turn out?
Well, my cat stepped on the one, so it's not looking too hot, but the other one looks really good.
Good. I know those are probably even in the more advanced book asking for more of that type of thing, but those are the ones that I found really hard to do. So
I found it easy to pin them if I used wax paper to hold the links down as it
okay,
dried.
that's a good tip. You have a pinning box or a pinning block.
Yeah, I have an inch thick foam board.
Good. What about you, Molly? What project were you taking?
The vegetable.
Oh, you were doing the vegetable gardening one? I didn't
Yeah.
think I had anybody doing that. So how's your garden growing?
We put it in pots and it's out on the front porch. I have a cucumber, I have a tomato, and I have a pepper.
Wow. What county are you in?
Brown.
You're in Brown? So this wet, warm weather is probably helping you out a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just got my first tomatoes on my tomato plants. I'm pretty excited about that.
We have a cherry tomato. It's not my cherry tomato, but, well, mine's not cherry tomato, but we have another cherry tomato plant, and that's made a few tomatoes.
Nice. I have mine are called early girls, so they come up a little bit earlier than some of the others, and that's kind of why I like them, because I can get my tomatoes pretty quick. I'm hoping I have a cherry tomato. I planted a couple, but I don't know whether they're growing or not. Got them mixed in with some of the others. So
This is what the first episode looks like.
okay. Do you have any tips that you would give anybody that wants to take the gardening projects?
Figure out where you're gonna plant your garden, because we ran out of space in our big one, so that's why we chose pots.
That's good. I like the raised bed gardens too, because you don't have to do as much weeding and bending over. Makes it kind of nice.
Tracy, we're at about a minute.
Okay. Cassie, what's your project?
My project is geology.
Geology? What's your
Yeah.
favorite part of it?
We're like not even halfway through the book yet, so
Still trying to figure out what your favorite part is?
yeah, but my favorite part was when we got starbursts and we melted starbursts in the microwave.
Okay, was that the one I was talking about with the sedimentary? You squish
Yes.
it back together? That looked fun. I'm glad you mentioned that. I wondered how that was.